And we are live. Now, I'm sorry, y'all, for a late live. It's my first day off. I'm kicking back here, but we have a very important story here. As you can see, Vander Ranch. Now, Christy, we have a special guest, someone that is a resident there. We're going to leave the person anonymous. But, Christy, your thoughts real quick before we speak about this. I didn't know nothing about this. This is actually, I think, Aaron Brockovich, levels here. This is a crazy story. Christy, quick intro before we bring on our guest. Go ahead, Christy Maga.
So whenever you had just asked me to start kind of figuring out what was going on, because we had so many people just like asking for help, asking for help, asking for help. And we knew that I knew immediately that this was something massive. I had to try to convince you that it was as big as it is. And as you saw today, it is a very massive story. It's definitely something that I have tagged Erin Brockovich in every post that I've made. She has her own private email. I've emailed her there, but all I can say is this: what they have done to the community, to the communities out there, is absolutely shameful. They are scandalous, and you have people like just fighting for basic necessities on a normal level, and it just is not anywhere near normal.
Yeah, and I'm going to be honest, I'll never complain about water again. So with that, we went out to Vander Ranch, and man, I'm just going to say this before I bring on the guest. This thing is an onion, bunch of layers, a bunch, I believe, of corruption. And with that, let me go ahead and introduce my guest. I'm not going to say the name, but are you there, ma'am?
I am.
Okay.
How are y'all tonight?
We're okay.
Good. How are
I ain't gonna lie. After I left Vander Ranch, I feel a little bit more better. It's kind of a weird place, with no disrespect. It's kind of it's an oddity, in my opinion, especially when you see what's happening. So, how long have you lived in Vander Ranch, and what is Vander Ranch, and where are you located? Go ahead.
I have lived in Vander Ranch for 4 years, and it is a community located inside of Greenwood, Texas.
Okay, and there's a problem there in Vander Ranch, right?
How far is that from Midland?
I would say it's about a 10 to 15 minute drive into town.
Okay. Because I don't know the area out there that much.
So you're there for 4 years. When you first bought the home, what did they promise you there?
Oh my gosh, we were so excited. We were building a dream home. We were promised a resort-style pool, basketball courts, restaurants, a fishing pond, lakes, walking trails, baseball fields, turfed grass areas, an HOA. It was really sold to be such a family-friendly community with all the amenities that we didn't have the upkeep to deal with. We truly believe that we were buying in the new and upcoming community of Greenwood. We were promised they had unlimited water. I mean, we were sold on, we really thought that this was going to be amazing, low maintenance and so many amenities to take advantage of. We thought we were going to be, riding our golf cart down to the pool and then going to the pond fishing. But we by far got those
Let me ask you,
promises fulfilled.
Real quick, Christy, hold on. I seen your pond and I seen your pool, and I will not even dip my steel toe in neither one. Go ahead, Christy.
Yeah. So let me ask you a question. I forgot it now.
Wow.
That was important.
Good job. Great reporter. Not saying.
You were thinking about that pond and that pool and where I was taking you. That's what it was. Christy.
All right. So if you're not ready, Christy, let me get my questioning one. So you bought the home. Do you mind answering how much you paid, or you don't have to give that info? But how much did you pay for it?
I would say that we paid in the 300s for it.
Okay, so you buy the home. When's the first time? Get ready, y'all. This is a crazy story. When's the first time that you noticed something was off I know Rick told me I had interviewed someone that he said that he noticed when a wind hit him, a gust of wind, and he smelled like sewage. When did you notice something wasn't right about living in that community of Vander Ranch in Greenwood, Midland County, Texas?
Unfortunately, Nina, that was 2 weeks to prior of the close on the sale of my home that my husband and I had lived in for 15 years. I started seeing posts on our social media platforms within our community about the water situation and people incurring outrageous water bills. And so I joined our community page and saw that this was a huge issue. Like, we had people complaining of $900 water bills. And so, with that being said, I went to my realtor at the time and I was like, look, this affordable home now is no longer going to be affordable. I mean, an $900 a month water bill is a car payment. And so we went back and forth with the water utility and the builder that was building at the time. And we actually tried to back out of selling our home. We wanted to stay where we were. We didn't really have a good vibe about it. And it was controversy from the beginning. That's pretty much what set the tone for us. The water company was gracious to give a developer's credit to eliminate that cost that we're still receiving before, we go into the next session of them trying to increase that. But so for us, we actually were regretting our decision 2 weeks prior to purchasing our home because we felt like we were misled, and definitely the base water charges and rates were not disclosed to us at that time.
So I remembered my question. And whenever you were talking about the amenities, it wasn't something that was sold to you all that you would have your lawn care taken care of, pest control, all that. Is that right? Or did somebody give me wrong information on that?
Actually, Chrissy, that's incorrect. When they decided to turn Vander Ranch into a rental community, which again is not something that was in the plan in the beginning, it's my understanding that this is a fee and charge and a service that is now offered to the rental community within Vander Ranch. But no, ma'am, that service was not offered to the homeowners.
To the homeowners, okay, because she was a renter. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so when did you notice the issues in the home? And what issues did you experience? And the lines will open, y'all, here momentarily. Let us get these questions out the way, and we will open the lines for the citizens of Greenwood to call in. Sorry it's a late live, but don't worry. Someone commented on here. I'm going to stay on their necks. So when did you experience issues at the home, and what did you experience? Go ahead.
And
well, the first, okay, we were probably, I want to say that we were probably in the home for maybe 6 months to a year. And we started noticing the water smelling like chlorine and just little pieces of clothing here and there. When we purchased the home, we had all new linens, all new towels, wash rags. They were being bleached. And so that was a concern that we were, trying to get answers to. And then it led to all of a sudden within the community, there was a horrible stench. We couldn't figure out what it was, and come to find out they basically had a sewer issue, and it was open sewer draining, and this went on for over 3 weeks.
Is this that picture? Hold on, ma'am. Is this picture that you sent me, right? The snakes are around here. It's like turds floating around.
Yes, sir.
This okay, go ahead. Sorry.
Yes, sir.
I want to ask one question. And also, whenever I saw the video of the open pipe, that also was raw sewage being drained right out into the soil, correct?
That is correct.
Okay, please continue.
And
go ahead.
It's just scary because not only did we have sewer running down, but we had an open. I mean, you can see, a small child could have fell in that. I don't know how deep it was, but the potential of what they would be exposed to, but yet alone the safety factor of someone falling in that is scary in itself.
And real quick though, I would hope no kid would come around it, but how bad did it stink? What was the stench like?
Oh my gosh. It smelled like a porta potty at South Padre Island on spring break.
Damn. Okay.
It was
All right. So
horrible. It was horrible.
where is this in the property? Because we toured the property today. I'm telling y'all, I could have spent all day in Vander Ranch. I was actually there about 5-6 hours. But where was this septic?
Right.
Where was this septic system at?
It's actually in the back of the property, and I would say it was probably about maybe 20. I would say between 20 to 40 feet from our pond.
Oh, by the pond.
Yes. And so
So what happened? What happened to it? Go ahead.
So they had a big, I don't know if you would call it like a retaining ditch. I don't know the proper term for it, where water runoff would go. And so basically it was running down and collecting into that. And
For how long?
sitting there stagnant.
For how long?
For approximately 3 weeks. Approximately 3 weeks, Nino.
And this is the first thing you noticed, right, when you started saying something was wild. And I'm gonna be honest, y'all. This woman is very brave because we actually went out there and we covered it. She got a hold of us, and she's been taking a lot of flack for this in the community. And I'll just leave it at that. But the point is, she's standing up and saying something. Okay, I know a lot of people over there in that area. They're trying to sell their house and get the hell out of here. But you know what, y'all? We got to call a spade and call out this developer, this whole situation, because we can't just let others move into these problems while everybody's trying to, get off the ship. Okay, and I'm gonna be honest. I don't think after our post went viral, we had 30,000 views on our last video. People are talking in Vander Ranch. So I would tell the community over there, give a little grace or give a lot of grace and mercy to this woman right here, because she took a stand when it was not popular. And I know a lot of people are dogging her. They don't like her out there as far as certain, I'll just leave it at this. She is brave and she's speaking, and we gave her the platform to speak, and we're going to expose this crap because this right here is not right. Now, continue. Go ahead.
Nino.
Yeah.
Nino, can I just say one thing? First of
Go
all,
ahead.
I want out of the ship just like everybody else does. It's very difficult to live in a home when every day it's something new. I almost have to drive with blinders on at this point. And this isn't just affecting Vander Ranch at this point. It's affecting our community as a whole.
Yes.
We have other developments that they're dealing with similar issues from the same entity. I care about our community. This is a great place to live. This is a great place to raise your kids. We shouldn't be dealing with these issues out in this community. Greenwood is the best of the best. This isn't how things should go. I'm fighting for not myself, but for my community.
Totally agree. Okay, are you done?
I'm done, Nino. There's
Okay.
my spiel.
Okay. No, well, and they're asking about the pool real quick. I just said earlier, I would not dip my steel toe in this pool or the pond in the back, for real. This pool is disgusting. Very interesting situation with the pool. She's paying the fees for it, even though it hasn't been open since day one. Shout out Stacy in the comments out there. We will talk about that in a minute. But let's go back to, they have this flowing downstream. It's stagnant. It stinks. You notice this. What do you do?
We actually called the Midland Environmental Department.
And I'm sorry to cut you off, but somebody just said that. Why don't you call guys? She has exhausted many avenues here. That's why she came to Nino and our whole crew over here, because she can't get no answers or help from Terry Johnson, from the county, this thing is going up the ladder. But continue. Go ahead.
I gotta cut in here. I have got to say this. As I have said several times, I live in Florida, but because of Nino and the person we're talking to right now and a bunch of people that I have connected with, I have never seen such corruption in my whole life. And if you think that any Midlander official is truly going to help you, you're wrong. They're not.
I'm going to be on. Go ahead. Sorry.
These violations are not just like a one-time violation. They are major biohazards that kill people. They know what is happening out there, and nobody is stepping up for this community. And I understand that people went out, and they went out quick. But like Nino just said, you can't take it out on the caller that she's coming forward. Everybody out there should be unified. I'm telling you, there's power in numbers,
Yup.
and this is
Well,
not.
I want to make myself clear. I'm not the one. I'm not standing alone with why this story has came about.
No, we
You
know.
know, this,
Yeah.
right. So, for the impression that I came seeking for help, no, that is incorrect. I'm sorry. Our community has been reaching out to y'all for help.
Thank you for clarifying.
Um,
Yes, you're correct. Not just you, many. You're right.
sorry, Nino.
We like to be factual here, but I'll take the rebuke. Go ahead.
I think it's just because I've had so much contact with her versus other people and got
Oh
so
yeah.
much of the story
Cri-
that
cri-
it feels like,
Yeah,
yeah.
Chrissy does all the legwork, y'all. I'm in the 18-wheeler. I'm having other stories. Anyways, I digress. We're going into the weeds. So you smell it. You smelt it, didn't dealt it. So what happens is raw sewage on the property. You go make the report to who, and go ahead.
We made the report to Midland Environmental Department and TCEQ. Midland Environmental Department told us that they were going to investigate this as criminal activity. After following up several months later, we were told this was put on the district attorney's desk, and it's been 2 years with no response. With that being said, we've reached out, and I say we because I definitely don't stand alone. We've reached out to Tom Craddock's office. They've passed us along to a lady named Abby that said she was going to call the district attorney herself to get this handled. And all we've heard is crickets for the last 2 years.
And if it goes to Lori Blong's desk, all she's gonna do is get up and walk away from it.
Lori Blong's not going to do nothing. But let's be honest. This is county, right? Because people keep saying the city, county. So you go through all these avenues, right? So what's the next step now? So a couple years later, what's happening? What's happening to your kids? The clothes. I'm hearing a lot of stories about bleached clothing, rashes. What are things that are leading up to today? Like, what have you experienced there?
Well, I mean, at one point, the chlorine level is supposed to be between 0 and 5. And when TCEQ came out to test, it was actually over a 10. My son actually came down to visit, had a stain in his shirt and put it in the sink, and it literally took the color and dye out of his shirt. And then shortly after that, we noticed that our daughter had a skin rash, and it appeared to be chemical burns. I actually approached the I don't know what his official title is, but I actually approached him about my daughter's skin, and he laughed in my face. After that occurred, it started becoming, more knowledgeable that we weren't alone, that other people's clothing was being bleached. Other people were suffering from skin issues. The color in their hair was being taken out. And that has been a progressive continuous action that we're constantly dealing with, and have no answers on that. Like there's no answers as to why our clothing's being bleached, but yet every week someone comes forward that their clothes are being ruined.
And real quick, I got to say this because someone commented, I don't know if they're going to leave the live later, but Antonio says taxes, and we'll go back to the clothing and the symptoms. He says taxes was never paid properly on the home we bought. They never marked it as billed until the day it was sold to us. I'm 100% tax exempt and had to pay taxes on the house, on the home, since builder didn't do it. I just want to say something. We've checked the MCAD website, right? One of the Midland Street News people, and you know what? There's a lot of these houses that are empty that they've already built, and there's no owner listed. So it's interesting that Antonio is saying this because if there's a house bought and paid for and someone's living and renting in it, we looked up the actual street. None of those houses that are already built, there's no tax status on them. So we're like, how does that work? And like I said, someone's been living in the house we interviewed for over almost 2 months, and it's not listed. So why are these properties not being listed in the MCUD? I think it's the MCUD or MCAD website. We want to find out who's the owners. So it's interesting that Antonio said this about the taxes. I don't know if you know anything about a tax situation on your end, caller, but this is interesting, his comment, because we cannot find who owns certain houses in the area where they're building more of these homes. Anything on that, caller?
I actually have no information on that.
Okay, all right.
And
Absolutely none.
I
so
just I just
let me
wanted to put
ask.
that out. I just wanted to put that out there because it's weird that they're not listed on the website to where you find out who owns a property and what's the tax value or the assessment. It's not up there. It's very odd. Go ahead.
Because because what happens is developers and builders get together and purchase this land. And is it Horton that built the properties out there?
Okay,
Caller?
this is interesting. Go ahead.
Okay. So after the sewer, we noticed that they, DR Horton was actually the builder at the time. And
Okay, hold on
it's
just
our
one
under,
second. Hold on 1 second. That's I just wanted to say that in Florida, they have multiple neighborhoods that they built. And what they do is they get the developer and the builder work together and build all these homes that are similar type homes. They might have different plans or layouts or whatever, but they're built just to sell. They don't. It wasn't that anybody came looking for it and it was built. They pre-build these homes.
Man, you should see the neighborhood that I saw. And then the homes I saw, they're like 20% brick and 80% panel. They
Same
they
here.
they,
And
they
same
actually
here.
look
hey,
hold on, hold on,
hey,
hold on.
uh-uh.
They actually look like habitat homes, right? These houses are for $300,000 to $400,000, and I kid you not, y'all. They have little to no brick. The new builds. Anyways, a caller, if you can, I don't know if you're looking at the live, but there's some pretty good comments in here. These people have some concerns. This is pretty wild what I'm reading in the comments. But caller, go ahead. You're getting rashes. You're getting your clothes ruined. Someone told me today they had $100 Lululemon shirts and they're getting ruined by the water. What else are you experiencing? If you're ready with that, I'm going to go to the actual picture of the sample, right? You have a sample. Let's talk about that sample you got from the tap. Now, I'm going to pull up the picture. Explain to the people this picture of the tap sample.
Okay, so we have not been able to get clarification as to why our clothing's being bleached. Per TCQ in their testing, Park Water, Greenwood Water is on a free chlorine system. Okay, so what they're looking for in their water sample per TCQ is they're looking at the total chlorine. Okay, so when they're coming out, the total chlorine residuals are shown to be within the guidelines. So they're telling us chlorine is not what's bleaching our clothes. So myself, along with another homeowner, purchased our own water testing strips. Okay. Started testing our water on our own. Well, because there's been so many complaints with TCEQ, we had a meeting with them. We presented some of these testing strips to them. And one thing that we found on these testing strips that's showing up is chlorine dioxide. From what we have been told from an environmental consultant, along with TCEQ, along with Water Labs, is this is not something that's supposed to be in your water. Okay, chlorine dioxide is a form of bleach. The interesting part about it is that this is showing up on these strips. Okay, you go back to these testing strips of when the chlorine level was at a 10, kids were the rashes, all the things, and you look at that chlorine dioxide, and clearly it states that it should be 0, and it's trending at a 20, close to a 50.
And I see it. I see it. Hold on.
Protein.
I see it right here. It says chlorine dioxide. Everybody watching, it's like a teal green, 25. You're correct. Maybe a little bit higher. It could be 30 to 40. And that should not be in the tap water, correct? And we also have a sample for the pond that was analyzed today. But go ahead. Sorry.
Yes, sir. So we've approached TCEQ with that, and they have confirmed 0, no, chlorine dioxide should not be in your water. These testing strips have been taken by other people to Midland, the city of Midland, the city of Odessa, and there is not chlorine dioxide found in their water. We are being told by TCEQ that we're getting a false positive. And unfortunately, it's very hard for the water labs to capture this because chlorine will disintegrate, or I don't know if that's a proper word, but so
Dissolve.
you would almost have to dissolve. Thank you. So you would almost have to have an on-site testing done to prove that chlorine dioxide's in the water. So it's very interesting to me that we've got clothing being bleached. our chlorine level's normal according to TCQ, but we're not supposed to have chlorine dioxide in our water. And we have 2 residents with 2 different types, 2 different brands of testing strips, and it's showing that there's chlorine dioxide, but yet this doesn't show in other areas. And
So
again, to capture that is almost near impossible.
okay,
It's not even something TCQ is going to look for because, again, this is a free chlorine system, is what we're being told by TCQ. There should be no reason for that to be in our water.
and I have multiple commenters saying TCEQ does nothing. I have my opinion about them. I have a whistleblower. I'll leave it at that. But let me ask you and everybody in the chat, let me know, is there something wrong with the water at Vander Ranch in Greenwood, Midland County, Texas? Caller, what do you think? Be honest.
I think there is something very suspicious about our water. You cannot convince me there's not. I mean, people have been commenting all day on your post, Nino, that they're having skin rashes, their clothing's being bleached. We're not talking about just one person. We're talking about several people. This isn't a coincidence. There's something causing it. I don't think that we're all washing our colored clothing with bleach.
I am.
Someone said
I'm
chlorine dioxide is used to treat water for drinking purification.
It is, and I read that. I read that earlier, but it's supposed to be within a very minimal range, which she has proof of it being very elevated above that range. Yes, it is, and that is in a lot of water because it is used as a disinfectant.
Well,
Because it kills some bacteria, but they have to report that to people.
But
You
this
can't
this
have
is the
something.
but this is the point to anybody. I'm not saying nobody's nitpicking here, but y'all, something is not right in Vander Ranch. Even if I'm gonna be honest, even if our info, which I'm barely been looking into this last week, even if it's not the most accurate at this point, we're pointing out that something is wrong there, y'all. And I went over there and I'm walking around the neighborhood, y'all. They're building houses. This lady told me within a week the foundation was laid. A week later, the house was up already. Now, that might not be illegal, but in my opinion, to put a house up that quick, and then they told me, y'all, that there's paint, bags of bolts and stuff shoved down the pipes but when they still laying the foundation. I saw like 6 or 8 people. I'm gonna be honest, they look like they're not from America. They don't speak no English, and they're outside of a house and they're doing jobs, they're painting or whatever. So I'm just saying, what I seen in Vander Ranch, y'all, is highly alarming. Not just with the water, with the tax situation, the pond, the swimming pool, the people working on the houses, how quick they're building them and putting them up, and then 20% brick, 80% paneling for a $350,000 house with water issues. And we talked to a realtor. There's a lot of problems. Hold on. There's a lot of problems happening in Vander Ranch, y'all. This is just the first day of us going out there and looking. Go ahead.
So anybody that wants to do a further research on D.R. Horton will find all the lawsuits that have been filed against them in Florida, Louisiana. I haven't seen any coming out of Texas yet, but they were using Chinese drywall, which was toxic to people. One Florida family was awarded $9.6 million because of the damages that it did to their family medically. But D.R. Horton has a terrible reputation. It says that they have problems with major electrical problems, plumbing issues, and drywall. So yeah, they're not good
But
builders.
D.H. Horton, they pulled out though. Somebody else took it over.
So basically, if you don't mind me intervening with that, originally D.R. Horton was the builder within the development, and we were told by representatives of D.R. Horton that the reason why they chose to purchase 0 lots any further from them is because the amenities that were promised, going back to the pool was originally supposed to be open in May of 21. So D.R. Horton, from our understanding, was putting pressure on the developers saying, look, if you don't get these amenities done, we're not going to purchase any more lots. So they didn't. And then after that, that's when we found out that these developers who are also on the board of our HOA put our HOA in tax forfeiture. We started bringing it to their attention. They started building these homes that you're referring to, Nino, that aren't fully bricked. That was completely out of the covenants. And so before it went out, before the HOA went into forfeiture, they started building those homes when DR Horton broke out. When we started approaching them saying, look, you're not supposed to do 100% rock yards. Those yards are supposed to have a tree. You're supposed to have a certain height on your roof line. You're supposed to have a certain percentage of brick.
Wow.
What happened? A month later, we find out our HOA's in tax forfeiture. Well, they kept passing the buck as to, well, this person didn't do this person didn't do that. Well, guess what? When it went back into existence, they changed all the covenants. Did they notify the homeowners that they changed the covenants? Absolutely not. So now we have a rental community. That's not what these homeowners bought into.
Someone just commented that all the new homes going up are rentals. What the hell?
That's not what we bought into. Those homes were not originally in the covenants and guidelines of that community.
And real quick, so who owns what? Because they're saying that they have sovereign immunity. They can't be sued. Why can they not be sued? I don't know if you know the legality of this, but who owns the HOA? Can you connect all the dots for everybody that's listening? This is crazy, y'all. Go ahead.
Oh my goodness. I actually do not feel comfortable connecting those dots.
Oh, well,
I know
don't say no names.
People that you spoke to.
You don't have to say you don't have to say no names, but can you just tell us what's the deal with all these dots that are connected? This is crazy. Can you just give us something if you want?
Okay. Our developers are also our HOA board members who are also the operation of the water company. They have complete and total control over every aspect of this development, from our water to our HOA to it all, from developing to it all.
You know, whenever I was on the phone with the person that you dropped, that tomorrow the video's dropping, he himself explained it to me, but because there was so many abbreviations that I just, was not familiar with Texas, it made sense to me what he was saying, but he can break it down exactly because I asked that exact reason, and he said it's because they have sovereign immunity against any kind of lawsuit.
Okay, and I want to say something. Deanda says, contact Ace Water Specialties. I salute them. That's who's helping our buddy Lance with his water debacle out there on Todd Road, which the city's allowing more houses to be built in the city. That's a whole other story. Check it out on my channel, y'all. It's crazy. He's running out of water, but check this out, though. And I met the driver from Ace Water Specialties. Sorry. Great guy, right? He feels for the homeowner, Lance, but Lance ain't got nothing on this. This is really horrible, even worse, but his situation is bad too. But she said, or Deanda says, contact Ace Water Specialties. I agree, great guys. They do RO systems as well as deliver water. They can test your water. That's pretty good info, but I don't know. Hold on. I don't know if RO systems can fix this, but I want to say this. They cannot bring any water there because they do not have independent water wells. They hardly even have a front yard and a backyard, y'all. They can't even get their own water well. I'm pretty sure they could remedy this by maybe putting a water well, but somebody made a comment. I'm getting a crap load of messages. We all are now, y'all. It's coming out the woodworks. But somebody said that they told the owner of this development, whoever, don't build there. They said there's a bunch of problems and that water's no good where they built the Vander Ranch subdivision, y'all. The water's not good. They can't get enough of it. They're selling water to the oil companies. We're in a bunch of a hot mess due to our lack of water in West Texas. Water is probably valuable as gold out here. But like I said, they cannot bring water to these houses because there's no separate water wells. Go ahead.
And so the man that we spoke with yesterday, that you'll drop the interview tomorrow, he told me that they had tried to work out something with the city of Midland to have water brought in from the city of Midland. The city of Midland absolutely refuses to sell to anything in green outside of the city.
Well, I hate to say, Chrissy, but I don't blame them. They're trying to protect the water for us here in Midland. You know what I mean? I mean, that's just
I understand.
it's a messed up deal. But we still backing up Greenwood. Caller, let's continue here. How much stress has this put on your family? Because I'm telling you, many people are reaching out to us. I mean, look, y'all. There's people that are writing to me. I should read these comments on these private messages. I'll never disclose your name, y'all. We will always do for the citizens of Midland. We back you up. We don't do this for money, fame, or nothing. We got your best interest at heart. But I'm going to say this. Somebody wrote me, Chrissy, what was that disease? They said they got a disease and they're living in this subdivision. They don't want to leave, but they just got diagnosed with this disease. Chrissy, can you look that up and give me the definition of what that is, what causes it? I'm just saying, y'all, we don't know what the long-term effects of this, if there are any or many, we don't know right now. Caller, do you or your family feel comfortable showering? How is it on a day-to-day basis in your home and neighborhood?
It's not pleasant. I mean, it's not pleasant, Mino. I mean, you know, through this process, there's been so many times that raw water notices have been issued and we didn't even get the notification. I have grandchildren, new grandchildren, and had them visiting my home, giving them a bath. My daughter's already endured, rashes. And I'm giving my grandbabies a bath, and I get on a social media platform to find out that we're on a bull water notice. So it immediately creates panic of, oh my gosh, is this going to affect my grandbabies? Every time that we turn on the faucet and it smells like pure chlorine and bleach, it's like, what are we being exposed to? I mean, it's very unpleasant. If you're not worried about one thing, you're worried about the next. If you're not worried about your clothes being bleached, you're worried about the water being shut off, or you're worried about being under a bull water notice, or, that we're just going to wake up one morning and not have water at all.
And I remember you telling me, like, you sent me all these screenshots that the water was going to be off from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. I mean, who can live that way? Like, who can do that? There's a couple of things. So one of the messages that we got was that somebody needs to independently check how many children have gotten leukemia since living in Greenwood. I was sent a picture of a child that it looked like a memorial service. And this just isn't okay. Like, the bleach in the water is awful, but all I can tell everybody is that this E. coli and the coliform. So there's coliform and then there's E. coli, which stands for E. coliform, which is from just raw sewage, literally poop is what causes E. coli. This is going to be so deep. Like, people are literally dying from this water. I have
the sad thing is the E. coli and the coliform, if I'm saying that word right, is in our pond, and we've got kids going back there playing in it. And unfortunately, per TCQ, this is supposed to be treated water that they're using for their irrigation. Sadly, they did not acquire a permit to irrigate that water. So they're in the process of receiving a permit to do this, but TCQ has given them 300 days to approve it. So they're irrigating without that permit for 300 days.
Hey, all right, we got a special caller in. You there, sis?
Yeah, it's Shandy with Midland
Okay.
Street News.
Hold on. Let me plug you in correctly. I got to make sure. My bad. This is who went with us today. Shandy was very concerned about what she saw. If I can get this over here. Okay. Shandy, you there?
I'm here.
Hold on. Sorry, y'all. This is kind of she has some info about this, and she wanted to speak about what she has found out. Let me get her on the phone. It should be working. My bad, y'all. This is a live show.
Sorry, guys.
Hold on. I'll get you right now.
I'm just gonna speak
Go
on
ahead,
this,
Chrissy. Go ahead,
real
Chrissy. Go
quick.
ahead while I connect this.
Yeah. So coliform is just a general, it's just like a general bacteria. It's a broad group of bacteria that's used as an indicator of water contamination. You take that coliform and then you test the different types of bacteria that can be in that. E. coli is the worst that could be in that because that's associated with fecal matter and possibly toxic, like lethal death, like I mean lethal injuries, and it's just sad. Like I am so worried. The bleach worries me, but this E. coli that is just seeping into the ground, like it's it's deadly. I don't. There's no other word to say for it. Hello.
Yeah. Carly there?
Okay.
I'm here. I'm here.
I don't know why I can't get this thing to work on here. Anyways, so we'll continue here. Let me see if I can get this going. Talk about this book. Do you want to talk about this book or not? Pretty interesting.
Oh, I would love to read the book. I just don't know if I want to spend the $6.99 on it.
Wow.
But our water entrepreneur that is
Hello?
ahead of Park Water has written a book that you can purchase on Amazon. And I believe it's called The Smart Grid for Water. You can correct me if I'm wrong. I think you can purchase it on your own for $6.99. This was written by Trevor Hill and Graham Simmons, who is involved in our water company along with our development and all the things. So that may give us insight. If someone wants to read the book, that may give us some insight as to what their thought process is with what they're doing to our water out in Greenwood.
Well, I know that somebody has read the book, and I got an email.
Oh, really?
And you're absolutely right that Trevor Hill and Graham Simmons, it's a basic genesis on how to get rich in the water business, and it is called The Smart Grid for Water. And it's got under that title how data will save our water and your utility. It is these people are so scandalous, like it just never ends.
Well, they would know about the data because if I'm understanding correctly, and don't quote me on this, but it's my understanding they were in the metering business in a town called Copperas Cove, and they provided the water metering service for that city. And people were actually complaining about the water bills. You can look it up. You're going to see the stories on it. And
unfortunately, yeah.
And unfortunately, that didn't work out in their favor, and they just gave the city no notice and closed their doors. And
my bad. I'm gonna add Shandy on my other line. Hold on, y'all. I'm gonna merge it. Should have did it from the beginning. All right.
Shandy.
Hold on, Shandy. Hold on. Okay, Shandy, caller, Christy, y'all there?
Yeah,
I'm here.
Okay,
I'm
Shandy.
here.
Shandy, sorry about the technical difficulties. Shandy, go ahead.
Okay, so I've spoken with a insider who worked for Silverleaf prior to their split. So what happened was
Hold on,
D.R.
Shandy.
Horton-
Shandy, tell us who is Silverleaf. Sorry.
Silverleaf is the builder who is currently building right now in Vander Ranch.
Okay, go ahead.
They're the ones who have bought all the properties from D.R. Horton. So D.R. Horton is the one who originally started these properties at Vander Ranch. And then they did not uphold their end of the bargain. There was some situations that were going on. And so Silverleaf, they started selling some properties, and Silverleaf came in, and Silverleaf is ran by two guys, Drew and John. And they came in, they bought these properties up. Now, Silverleaf also has properties, if I'm not mistaken, I'm waiting for confirmation on that, but Silverleaf also has properties north of Fasken in Midland. Yeah, so I'm pretty sure that was one of their general locations. So I had a friend who worked for Silverleaf, and there became a verbal dispute between John and Drew. John is more thorough on how he does things, and he's more follow through, as where Drew was pretty much fly by the night and let's get rich quick. And so they ended up splitting. John gave him all control of Silverleaf, and he is now building through a company called Purple K or Purple Key, and he is out of Odessa, and that is where he builds. So that explains why we've had, so much of this. I mean, if the personality matches, yes, these are fly by the night builds. And Nino, just to correct you, these builds are going up in less than 3 days. We have a slab poured, and then by Wednesday, the building, sheetrock, everything is up. And these guys aren't working around the clock. Yes, they are working later in the afternoon into the evening during daylight hours, but they're not working around the clock. And if you know anything about D.R. Horton homes and Beatonbow homes, anyways, those are all modular homes. I'm assuming Silverleaf is doing the same. I do know that this person left them because it was not a good fit for them. And she is a person of quality and standards, and she just felt like it didn't meet her standards. But we also know, I do want to throw in there, we have residents who are renting and they are not getting the notice. They don't know
That's
when
right.
their water
I was
is
there.
being shut off. They don't know when there's a boil notice. They have not one single clue, and they're only a month and a half into their lease. They're paying a mortgage, a rent payment to somebody who's paying a mortgage, which we don't even have that listing on MidCat. We are going to hold the Central Appraisal District feet to the fire and ask them, why are these houses not being accounted for on tax roll?
Shandy,
Are the
that's
renters,
weird. Shandy,
is
can-
water included?
Okay,
Is
what?
water included in the rent?
It's going to have to be, because they haven't paid anything. So they're going to have to be paying their water through. They don't even know how anything's set up. They just pay directly to the management company. They have no clue who owns their property. And so when we went to look it up today, I said, I can give that to you in less than 3 minutes. I can tell you what everybody in Midland County owns, their property taxes, when their house was built, and who it was last deeded to, if that information has been noted on there. And when I couldn't pull it up, we spoke to
Hold on, Christy.
Midland County Central Appraisal District. And when we called Midland Central Appraisal District, they said, we don't have a listing for this address at all. And I said, this is a resident that is actually in an inhabited dwelling. There is somebody who is living there.
And I get, that's where my question is because most of the time, if you rent a home, you're responsible for your own utilities, your own water and all that. So my question is the people that have rented, they're not getting these boil advisories and all that. So they must not be paying for water.
Well, and this is the thing. They couldn't even set up their utilities, such as their electric. They couldn't even have their electric set up because nobody could find the address. They couldn't get AT&T fiber optic, which is what they were promised. They can't even get AT&T because their address is showing not in the system. I mean, it is absolutely nowhere in that system. And it's crazy because Nino and I witnessed what we'd say 100 houses completely vacant.
Yeah, it's a ghost town. Brand new.
It is completely brand spanking new houses, and they were still building more. And when we spoke with one resident, she came outside and she goes, wait, that house is already up too? Like, I can't believe this. That was not there yesterday.
Yeah, they built them that fast here in Florida
Hey, hold on, Shandy. Okay, y'all listening. Now, it might not be legal, but I don't want to be in my forever home that is put up in 3 freaking days. How is that even possible? How is that even? Someone said earlier that they don't have to meet certain standards as they're out in the county, but damn, 3 days and a house is put up from the slab to the walls and the roof and everything, or framed up, I guess, or the lady saw it all of a sudden. It was popped up in the neighborhood. She was tripping out.
And they have pictures of them, and their pictures are time stamped. And she's going to be sending those pictures to us.
And what's so weird is that DR Horton has a lot of communities here in Florida. We literally saw a whole community with resort pool, and they haven't had any water issues or anything. We literally saw that whole development come up within 2 months, hundreds of homes. But my question is this: nobody in Florida can do anything without permitting, and it has to come through an engineer. So who do they have in their pocket that are getting these things built this quick and then having to have the inspections on them within 3 days or whatever
Christy,
it is? It's crazy.
That's a great question that a lot of people don't like us when we ask those questions. There has to be some way that they are sneaking past these permits or something to get them built this fast.
Absolutely.
Yep. Yeah, we
Absolutely.
just are still getting our house recovered from the hurricane and literally taped to the wall. Well, it's like a stucco thing outside the house. We have a permit that is taped, and it has blue tape all the way around it. And while they were doing the work, it has to be outside in case somebody from the city came to look, or the county came to look and see. And then whenever the job is completed, what they had to do is they had to take it off the wall, sign it, take a copy of it to show that it had been done. And an inspector had 24 hours to get here to make sure that the work had been done and the work had been done correctly.
Yes.
So nothing is a fast process in Florida. So I don't know how they're doing all this so quick.
So what I can tell you is for county, this is exactly what my insider said. She's been in this business a long time. She knows her stuff. And she said, unfortunately, with county, we don't have to pull any permits. There's not a permit to build. There's not the permits that we have in city are not out in county. And she said, what is happening, unless Midland Central Appraisal District gets in their car and drives down to see, this could go off the record, literally off the record, off of tax roll for years. Absolutely years, because they are considered county. And they are expected to report in once a home has been built, it is appraised, and the dwelling has changed from deed to person, which clearly you don't have to change the deed when you have your homeowner as your builder and you're renting it out. There's not going to be another deed that's going to get passed. And so with that, then we're falling through the cracks here.
Yeah, you were talking about Silverleaf Homes, so I just decided to do a real quick Google search. It looks like they are in many communities in Midland and Odessa, Shenandoah Ridge, Silverleaf Ranch, Desert Ridge. It says available communities: Shannon Creek, Calhoun Acres, Saddle Crest Estates, Santana Ridge. They've got a lot of property and a lot of different things.
And we're talking about this when we're looking at these properties, y'all. If they're having water issues, building issues, Shandy, can you talk about the paint they're putting in the pipes? Talk about that real quick.
So what they're doing is when they get done with a build, they've got an open sewer drain that they're going to be putting a toilet on, instead of, pretty much securing that as a drain for future use. They're shoving all kinds of things down it. They're pouring paint, their leftover paint down the drain. Broken pieces of PVC pipe. It's a catch-all disposal for those who are working on the building. They, like Nino said earlier, the bags of bolts and nuts were found and retrieved out of one. And this house is brand spanking new. They've only lived there a month, could not use their bathroom for over 2 weeks. One, there was no water. Two, they couldn't even add water to their toilet from an outside source, bringing, a 5-gallon jug in and trying to just be civilized human beings. And because the toilets were backing up, the sinks were backing up. And they realized that their sink, when they got to this brand new home, their sinks were all scratched. They're not the stainless steel that we all kind of think about. Stainless steel really doesn't scratch. It's just heavy duty. I mean, I have a stainless steel sink. You never even realize that there's been anything. It's just takes a beat and keeps on ticking, right? But these were all scratched, and they were kind of concerned, like that was weird. And all the houses they looked at, they were all scratched like that. And that's because the painters would put all their paintbrushes, clean their paintbrushes out in the sink. And yes, you're talking about some water soluble, but all their trim is done in a oil-based paint. That oil-based paint is lining that PVC pipe, especially something that doesn't have water running through it constantly. And I mean, it really is. It's disturbing that they would be putting paint down, because that paint is also going to that sewer plant. And if you think that they're processing the chemicals out, they can't even get for lack of better words, they can't even get the shit out of the water. You think they're going to get the paint out of the water? They're not.
And that's what I was going to say. Everybody, I mean, anybody that wants to be an investor, sounds like you just need to head to the county of Midland and buy some property and do whatever you want, because nobody's going to hold you accountable.
And hey, Shandy, let's be honest. When we went through this neighborhood, we were there for many hours, so many stories. It wasn't weird. We just drove around, started speaking to people, and at first they didn't want to speak. But what's your overall thoughts, Shandy, of Vander Ranch from your hours you spent there today? Go ahead.
So I've said it's disheartening. I mean, that is all I can think about is the people that are, Nino, I come home and I'm in a neighborhood full of kids. I live in Old Midland, and our streets are lined with trees and kids are playing. And I was just almost sickened because my children are out playing with water balloons this afternoon. It's just a simple childhood memory that they're creating. That's something we keep plenty of stock in this house, is water balloons. And my kids are out playing and being boys, and they're having a grenade war with everyone in the neighborhood, and they're just aimlessly throwing these water balloons. And I thought, some of these children will never know what we know as happiness. And that is sad. They can't even take a bath. And we are sitting here. It made me almost feel guilty for the amenities that I do have.
I thought that too.
My heart broke for every family, but the overwhelming sense of mental health issues these people are facing, when we got to talking to
Don't say no name. Hello? Hey, I'm sorry. Hey, Shandy, don't say no names. Sorry.
No. Yeah. When we got to talking to the residents, we would approach this person, and it would just, I mean, these were all just random people on the street, and they would be, oh no, yeah, everything's fine. Everything's fine. And they were trying to be as peppy. We got a little water issue, but it's okay. And I was, posing as a possible homeowner. And I said, well, I have kids and I don't. And then it was like they broke. Their clay mask broke and they couldn't keep it together. And they were like, don't. You have no idea. It's more problems than that. And you literally just watch these people who were standing upright, toy little soldiers, just going through the motions, crumble and go, I don't know what to do. I am stuck. And this may be just people renting, but mostly these are the people who are home owners. Their rental lease is going to be up. They're going to be able to move on, but they know that their children who have a home there, or their next door neighbor who has a home there and is a homeowner, they're never going to be able to sell that property ever.
Wow. Okay. Thank you, Shandy, for calling in. Anything else? Final words before I'll open up the lines for the citizens of Greenwood. Go ahead, Shandy.
No, I will tell you that we are not going to stop. We are going to dig deeper, and we've got many eyes ears on this situation. So for the citizens of Vander Ranch, Cheney Ranch, we know, we understand what used to be, was that Pecan Grove? It's now another Vander Ranch. You can change your name many times. But we're literally setting up shop. We are coming and we are going to make sure that all of those wrongs are righted, and not at the expense of someone's life and not at the expense of someone's pocketbook.
Okay.
Absolutely. Shandy, you and I should probably get together so that I can just give you some information that's been given to me privately and stuff like that.
This is
You're
crazy.
there, I'm in Florida, but yeah, definitely. Like Nino said, this is so multi-layered that there's just so much to it. We haven't even started to talk about the big players and all of that and what's been exposed. But as Nino said, Vander Ranch, you're in trouble.
Yep. Thank you,
Yes,
Shan.
and
Go ahead.
Can I add? Can I add something
Go ahead, caller.
with y'all talking about the? Can I add something with y'all talking about the renters? I noticed that there was a comment on social media posted that every so often these issues and topics come up and it's brought to light and then it kind of disappears and then it comes back up. Well, the issue with that is when people are continuously moving out without giving the proper information and the information of what they're stepping into. Once they step into it and they start feeling the heat of all these things that are coming, their water's being shut off, their clothes, just like y'all said earlier, that a new homeowner moved in, was there for a week, and her brand new comforter was bleached. They're moving into this home with they have no idea what's going on. So as these things progress, it's going to open the can of worms again. And the can of worms is going to continue to be open until something is changed and done about it. Because you just keep misleading people and they keep coming in, and then, you get 4 or 5 band together and they're like, we want this changed. This is ridiculous. So, yeah, it's going to be a revolving door of you're going to hear about it and then it's going to go away, or people are being deceived by what they're being moved into.
Well,
And they're frustrated and they're upset and they want change. So you're going to see new people commenting. You're going to see new people trying to fight. And that's going to continue until people are told the truth and change is made.
Nino makes people accountable, and they have never had a Nino on their ass before.
And it's not just me though; it's many. We're growing. Midland Street News is giving the info that. Let's be honest, y'all. The local radio shows here, not all, but most, and the media are sold out, y'all. They don't like when we question them. We don't give a damn. But Shandy, I'm gonna let you off. I'm gonna get some more calls. God bless you, sis.
Absolutely.
All right.
You too. Thanks, Nina.
Okay, so I'm gonna open up the lines, y'all. This is crazy. 432-217-0709. If anybody wants to call in, I can plug you in. I know it's a late night live, but we had to get this out there. Stan Smith just posted a video on Midland Street News, y'all, of the actual pond. I'll probably pull it up in a minute, y'all. This is crazy, what we're seeing here. But go ahead, caller Christy, take it away.
I just want to add too that, Nino, a lot of people are commenting as well that, this is all because of a bond. And I strongly disagree with that. I don't think anyone in this community would condone this type of behavior, nor wish people's water being shut on and off and being under a bull water notice to gain a bond. I mean, bond didn't pass. My issue with that is with that bond, it needs to be revisited. There's got to be some kind of relief out here. And I don't know if the bond is the answer or what that is. Obviously, their focus was on the jail and the school and with intentions to eventually provide us relief. But we need relief now. We need relief before this jail or school is being built. But for someone to make a claim that they're doing this on purpose so they can get their bond passed, I don't think anyone in our community would be that shallow to think that that's okay. So I disagree with that statement. I'm sorry. You know, I received a report from TCEQ just this week, and it stated that that they have 9 water wells. Out of the 9, there are three that are operating, okay, for our community. Not to mention, it has also been stated by TCEQ, this company, this water company is servicing out of their service agreement area. Who monitors that? Because they're putting people outside of the service area that they're permitted to do so on our system.
Hey guys, let me add a caller. I'm sorry. Hold on real quick. Okay.
Mhm.
Sir, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, I had to add you on my personal line. I'm having problems with the lines, but go ahead. What do you want to say? Go ahead. You're on the show.
Man, I just wanted to say that, you know, everyone's hit kind of right on the spot, but we're going through all these water restrictions and everything else, and all these houses that they keep building, you know, I guess someone's saying that they're up for sale. I haven't seen one of them up for sale. They're all rentals that's owned by the same group, and we're going under these water restrictions. Well, you can come through here about 4 o'clock every night, and every one of these rental houses that they own has grass in the backyards, and their sprinklers are going off every evening. So all us homeowners that are sitting here with $400,000 houses that is being told that we can't water our lawns and have to kill our grass while these bunch of goons get to water their rental properties is just absolutely crazy.
Okay, you know what? I didn't really want to say nothing about that yet, but you already said it. I'm going to tell you, you're correct. We actually have proof that they are watering, like you said, right? Y'all are under water restrictions, but they're letting people listen, y'all. That are in they're watering houses that are the rental properties. Correct? That's what you're saying.
Yeah,
The empty ones.
they're the rental properties. No, they're not vacant whatsoever. There's no one living in there. These are the houses that are being completed, and they're sitting there watering them every night while we're under restrictions.
What do you think about that? What? I have a theory about that, caller. Thanks for bringing it up. Maybe they're using that to get rid or to flush the pond, right? I don't know if that's the reason because I seen a backyard. It's freaking desert. It's horrible looking grass. But why do you think that they're doing that? Do you think there's a nefarious reason? They're being greedy? Why would they be watering homes and even homes that are empty that are just rental properties? Why do you think that's happening, caller?
Man, I don't know. I mean, you're out here in West Texas like me. Sod's expensive. They're sitting here laying down sod. They don't want their sod to go to waste. They want all the homeowners to suffer. So why would they pay the expense of us to shut our water off and tell us we can't water our grass while they're going to sit there and water their rental grass that they just paid money for?
Oh, let me
You
ask
know, I
you.
think
Hold
you've
on.
hit it
Go ahead.
exactly. I have to say this. I think you've hit it exactly on the head. I think it is absolutely done for nefarious reasons. We know through water samples, and I don't want to get into this a bunch tonight, that from the sprinklers, the irrigation system that go to the sprinklers, that they show high levels of arsenic. And the thing about arsenic is, even if it's a low amount, it continues to build, it grows. So you think back to old horror shows where a wife was murdering a husband or whatever, and it was because they were poisoning them with arsenic slowly. So what
Yeah.
happens is, I just think it's exactly what you said. I think if they're doing that to dump that water, and they're doing it in those vacant lots so that the water readings come back in ranges that they should be.
This is just allegedly. Hey, caller, sir, let me ask you this. You've been there. What's your total experience with Vander Ranch? Are we on the money? Is there something off here? What are your thoughts about, living there in Vander Ranch?
Man, I bought this house in February of 22. So I was actually on the reserve side on the Silverleaf back whenever they weren't slapping houses up in 2 days. I was the third person that lived on this side, on the reserve side, and it's been a pretty crappy experience the entire time. We were told whenever we moved in that the pool and all these walking trails were going to be finished that summer, and on and on. And that's like a broken record that keeps being said, but that's just a bunch of empty promises that were given. And now here we are, changing the bylaws and HOA and building small houses and letting rentals in here. This is about the fourth house that I've owned in my lifetime, and I thought the whole purpose of a HOA was to keep our property value up, maintain our community, and for the most part, keep away the renters or whatever else, and make sure that our community sits there and raises in value. And here we are, all of us that have spent all this money and invested hundreds of thousands into the community is getting screwed over.
And let me ask you, have you had any problems with the water as far as health-wise, bleaching on clothes, anything like that?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, we got clothes that are bleached. We got 3 kids that live here in the house, and one of them get rashes every now and then. Like it's just absolutely ridiculous.
Okay.
But it's pretty sad whenever we gotta give our dogs bottled water. That's pretty
Hey,
crazy.
sir, and I
Okay,
think you're, I
Chrissy,
think
hold
you're
on,
exactly
Chrissy.
right.
Hold on, Chrissy. Let me go ahead and hang up. I got another call on the line. Chrissy, talk while I line them up. Thank you, bro. God bless you.
So what I was just going to say to him, and he can listen to the replay and hear it, is I think he's exactly right. He talked about the change of hands so many times of who owns what, who would be responsible for what, and who do you hold accountable at this point?
Okay, let me get this line. Get him on the call. Hold on, y'all.
Hello.
You there?
Yes, sir.
All right,
What's
hold
up,
on.
Nino?
Hold on. Okay, you're merged. What's up? Talk to me. You're live.
Hey, how you doing, Nino? Man, appreciate what you're doing. Definitely the last caller, that guy, he nailed everything. I've been here since the beginning when there was just a few houses out here. We were just one of a few houses on the block. And I mean, there's more than just water. I mean, it's what they promised. Like the guy was saying, all the walking trails and pools, and I live by a field that's full of dirt and weeds and tumbleweeds, and those tumbleweeds continue to blow into my corner of the fence. And shoot, the next day I have a fine from HOA or a warning telling me I need to remove these tumbleweeds. And it's insane. It's like, if y'all would clean up this neighborhood, y'all should be able to scrape up all these weeds. And if you're going to leave it dirt, we'll get rid of all the weeds so the tumbleweeds don't blow over here. But literally the next day, I'll have an email saying that I need to remove the tumbleweeds, or I'm going to be fined. I have so many days, and it's just insane. The field across from me has ruined the front of our yard to where it's lifted my yard so high that the sprinklers don't even water. They don't come up high enough, and so I have to literally hand water the front of my yard because it's lifted my yard so much. Because if my yard dies, I'm going to get fined for that too.
Wow.
And I've asked them, hey, what are y'all going to do about our yard? Can y'all put up a sand fence to block this sand from blowing over here so much, or something, because it's ruining my yard, and I'm constantly having to scoop this dirt out of the front of the walkway to remove it. Every week I have to do it, and they've yet to put up anything to block the sand from blowing. They said it was supposed to be turfed across from us, but it's not. It looks like crap. I mean, we walk out and you look across the street and you see a bunch of dirt and weeds and crap, and it's just it's a train wreck. It literally, it's a train wreck. Yeah, these rentals weren't supposed to be here. Next to us, they put up a lease house where originally wasn't supposed to be any house. It was just they were going to turf it, and it was just going to be a little play area, I guess. But shoot, weeks later, next thing you know, we've got a whole house being built, and it was up in less than a week. It was crazy, and somebody was moving in. Well, they just
For
moved
real?
out. No joke. And they literally just moved out this past weekend. I saw a U-Haul out here, and I didn't get to catch them but they're gone. It's now empty, and it was a lease house because I remember the sign being in the sign saying for lease, and it's right in between houses that we own. This part of this block, this whole block that we're on, is owners. We bought these houses, $400,000 houses, and I mean, it's a joke.
And rental properties do lower the home value of
Oh,
you
absolutely.
know,
And not just that. I
yeah.
mean, I don't want to,
But
but
not that the rental homes, sorry, Nino, it's not that though, but the rental homes are some of the worst. I mean, the ones that are sitting vacant, they've got 3 foot tall weeds, and they're
Oh,
the ones that own those homes.
you know, luckily he did mow his yard before they moved out. It's mowed, but the grass is dying now, and so it's going to connect to my side yard and start killing the grass that I'm trying to bring back. Because again, the dirt. If you, if you came over here, I could show you the dirt has ruined. You know, you have a little half yard on the side of your house. It's my whole yard's ruined. It's covered in dirt. I have
You
no grass over there. I'm trying to get it back, but it's completely ruined. I literally would have to till it all the way out and replace it with sod to even get it back. I'm just trying to make do with what I do because we already pay so much for the water. We pay so much to our mortgage. You know, water bill out here is no. I didn't hear anybody say it. The water sucks, but talk about the water bill. It's like bathing in gold out here. You tell your kids, we've got 4 kids in the house, and you tell them to get their butts in and out because the water bill out here is crazy. In the summertime, you could have a $500 water bill in a hurry. So you got to be
wow.
wow.
careful.
And I heard the water bill might hit $800.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. At first, when we first moved in, you know, I was trying to keep my tree alive. And so I was watering the yard, you know, trying to keep my grass green. Well, then we got that first bill and I said, oh, screw this. And then next thing you know, my tree died, the yard fell apart. And then next thing I know, I was being sent letters that I got to replace a tree. I've been through 3 trees in 5 years of being out here.
So you get fined from the homeowners association if your grass dies or a tree dies and
Oh, yeah.
you're put on water restrictions where
What?
there's not even water for days on end.
Absolutely. Yes, they warn you
Wow.
first. They give you so many days to replace the tree or to start, you know, getting your grass better. And then if you got to have that tree replaced, or they'll start finding you in a hurry. Oh yeah, and these trees are not cheap. You know, you got to
Yeah.
go to Aldridge Gardens or wherever, and
And,
these trees are not cheap.
and it's a hassle. It's a hassle to dig a hole and put a tree in West Texas straight up.
Oh yeah, straight up. Yeah, this is my 3rd tree. No joke. 3
Oh,
trees.
wow.
Wow.
And you know what else I heard? We saw a little boy. He was blowing the dirt off his rocks. He said that if Shandy's talked to him, if his family don't blow them dirt off the rocks, they get fined $50. Is that true?
Oh, absolutely. You get fined for everything. HOA, you know, they're not making any changes, but I guarantee you that HOA lady will be through each block like clockwork every week. She's coming through. I had jumper cables sitting in my driveway for literally, I had just put them out there the night before because my kid's friend's car needed to be jumped, and I just set them outside of my driveway. That next day, I had an email saying you need to remove miscellaneous things. If you have your bicycles on the side of the house for the kids, that you know they ride their bikes all the time, so you leave them out for them. Oh no, they'll send you a
Oh,
picture and say you need to remove this
and,
miscellaneous items.
you're saying it happens the next day. They're watching you every day.
Oh, every day. Oh, that lady is like clockwork. If you get on our page, somebody's letting you know, hey, HOA's out. Here she comes. And sure enough, you'll see
Okay.
her come cruising, taking pictures.
Okay, I'm grabbing another call, but let me ask you one more question. Have you experienced any issues health wise, rash wise, clothing wise with the water?
The clothes all day long. My clothes are ruined. You can see the bleaches in them. We just had a newborn, and we changed her diaper like crazy, but she ended up getting a rash the other day, and we're like, dang, is it because we just started bathing her in this water? Is that what happened? But she literally just got a rash, and I can't say for certain it's because of the water, but I know that my wife is changing diapers like crazy, you know, and she shouldn't have no rash. But again, I can't prove that it's from the water, but she's just born. She's only a month old. So who knows, you know? But yes, clothes wise, yes. constantly. Our clothes are all, you can see it in all our clothes.
Okay, brother.
Absolutely.
Hey, I appreciate your call, bro. I'm gonna get another one, but
Yep.
man, we got your back. And if you need anything, text me, bro. I'll go out there and I'll put the camera. I'll interview you. I'll show your layout. Whatever you need, bro. Let me know, man. But God bless you, bro.
Thank you, Nino.
All right. All right. Got somebody else on the line, y'all. Finna make another call real quick. Let me. Sorry, bro. This is gonna be a anonymous call, y'all. But I think this person doesn't have a lot of info. Hold on. This is crazy. Please answer Shandy, bro. Is that her name? You there?
Yeah, I'm
All
here.
right. Please turn off the TV if you're watching me on the TV, wherever, and I'm gonna merge you. Hold on.
Hold on just a second.
Okay. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. Go ahead. I know you want to remain anonymous. What's going on?
So this has been going on for years, and I'm just seeing now that I'm seeing the comments and everything, and people are finally they are fed up. And I just want to reiterate, I've been around for a while, and every government entity has been contacted, and no one has done anything. They give slaps on the wrist, they do this, that, and the other, and they are not helping. And it's just finally came to a head at this point to where, everyone has to stand up together. This has to end. And I don't know. I just wanted to get my 2 cents. So
Hey, hold
No,
on.
I agree.
Before you hang up, so you said,
Yeah.
which we already know, we have the proof.
Yeah.
This has already hit different levels. They're not doing nothing.
Yeah.
There's no help here. But let me ask you this question: have you experienced? Well, I hate to ask a dumb question, but have you experienced before you hang up anything with health wise, clothes wise, with the
my
water?
family members have 1000%. They live in the neighborhood. I've seen their pain and suffering, and I sit back as a bystander, basically unable to do anything to help. I've tried everything. I've been a part of it for a while, and no one does anything. TCUQ, they're worthless. I mean, they do nothing. They come out, they're like, "Oh, we're going to do something." They do nothing. They slap them on the wrist, and it is 1000% controlled by a monopoly. And it has to end.
Well, real quick before you hang up, I know you just wanted to make a comment. What do you mean by monopoly? Monopoly, because we kind of touched on that earlier, and everybody's saying it because I think it's pretty factual and there's proof. What do you mean by monopoly?
Yeah, I know all the names. I know the Canada. I know the Arizona. I know all the names. The HOA is controlled by the same people that control the water and sewer. It's not just Vander Ranch. This is affecting all of Greenwood. And I've kind of been shouting it from the rooftops for a while, at least the last 2 years. And people, a caller earlier, no names, people have put this person down. They've put others in the community down, "Oh, you're crazy. You don't know what you're talking about." And it's 1000% true. It is a monopoly. And they have Midland County. It's not just Vander Ranch. It's not just Greenwood. They have Midland County by the cojones, I guess I could say. And no one has done anything. Specifically, Jeff Summers, specifically Terry Johnson. They know about all this. Do not be fooled. They know about it. Every senator, everyone's been contacted, up all the way to Greg Abbott's office.
Why do you think?
No one cares.
And Terry Johnson, right? He's happy about his jail. Why hasn't no one done anything in your opinion?
I don't really know. I feel like it goes way deeper than I could even understand as a citizen. It's corruption. It really is. And to sit back and watch people suffer, especially kids and babies, and you do nothing, it's sickening. And I'm tired of it. And that's just what it is.
I'm gonna be honest. Like the last caller, his baby's getting a rash.
This has been going on for years.
And I'm gonna say something. We don't know the long-term effects. People are attacking Jesse Waters, Nancy Grace. We need to get Trump. We need to get Aaron Brockovich. For real.
I have messaged Aaron Brockovich for 2 years. I wish I pray to God at this point. I don't know what other solution there is, that someone that can actually do something will step in. Because what else are these people going to do? Who wants to buy a house with no water? Nobody. Nobody wants to buy a house with no water. No one wants to buy a house where their kids are getting rashes. And it's to that point.
And it's the sad thing of it is you're absolutely 100% right that it is nothing but corruption. My eyes have been opened up to Midland so much that I feel like I'm a resident of Midland that lives in Florida. But whenever you really start, and we're not going to discuss this tonight, but whenever you start really looking at flow charts and names and all of that, this corruption is so deep that
I know all the names, and I'll reach out tomorrow.
They own, or what'd you say? What was the last thing you said?
I know all the names. I know the connections, and I'll reach out privately tomorrow. But
yeah, it's crazy.
This has been going on and on and on and on, and now it's to this boiling point, and I'm literally terrified that people. It's not just going to be you get a rash or whatever. There will not be water at some point. And I also do agree with the previous caller. People keep saying, oh, they wanted to pass the bond. It was already bad before that. It was bad before that, and it's getting worse. And I don't know. That's just what I really wanted to say.
Well, I thank you for your call. God bless you, and hopefully we can get the story out there. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
We'll be waiting for you.
Thank you so much for helping. Bye-bye.
Okay, caller Christy, I guess we're going to wind it down here, y'all. Look, I'm going to tell you something. Tomorrow, I'm dropping the video. I really couldn't drop it today. Got so much content coming out. But we got a lawyer that's going to speak, and he's going to put all this together in a nice video with names. There's a lawsuit. There's all kinds of things happening behind the scenes. Caller, what would you want to tell everybody watching right now while we end this video? Oh, did she hang up? Go ahead, Chrissy.
No, it shows still connected. I'm not sure.
No, I'm here. I'm
Okay,
sorry.
go ahead. Sorry.
No, that's okay.
Man, I wish Donald Trump would get involved, but go ahead. Sorry. Caller, go ahead.
I just hope that, first of all, I just want to thank you and your team for bringing attention to this, Nino and Christy. And again, like I said before, I know that y'all have had so many people reach out, and I agree with the previous caller. It's going to take our community to band together. We're all worried about our home values. We all have our concerns. A lot of them are similar, a lot of them are not. But what I need to express to people is this is real. And the things that are happening, I mean, it's very simple for you to come in your home and try to enjoy life. And some people are able to do that. But what's going to happen when this falls on one of your family members, or you come home and you turn that faucet on and there's no water at all? Then you're going to wish that you spoke up. You know, we have to protect our assets, and that's one of the biggest investments in our lives is our homes. And these people are taking that away from us. You know, it's one thing after another from every perspective. And the only way that that's going to change our home values, change the well-being of our families, is to speak up and fight against it. And these leaders need to start listening. Somebody needs to help, just like the previous caller said. You know, this isn't just a Vander Ranch issue. This is a Greenwood issue. We have other communities that have so much to say, where these people are interfering in their community, and that's striking concern that their water is going to be depleted. And then you've got other communities that are getting the same bull water notices and their water shut off at night. This isn't just a Vander Ranch issue. This is a Greenwood issue. And it's time for us to step up and fight for our community. That's what Greenwood's known for, is to band together when times are tough. And it is tough. And we are literally wading in crappy waters right now, and it needs to be changed.
And real quick, I'm looking at the pond right now. Who the hell? This is like a frack pit. I bet a frack pit is probably cleaner than this pond. But anyways, people are. I don't know if this is a possibility. We got the environmentalists in the comments here, but is there a possibility that they could actually be poisoning or messing up other people's wells that are around the area? And then we ask about the water and the saltwater disposal, right? We don't know where there's an issue with Vander Ranch where they're getting rid of the sewage, right? I don't know if you remember that, but we talked about earlier about that. But the point that I want to make is we don't know if these people are actually polluting other wells or even in any other areas besides what they're doing now. We don't even know what they're really doing. We don't trust them. And I'm not saying they are. I'm just saying if they're doing all this other shady stuff, y'all, we don't know what the hell they're doing to the groundwater, to the aquifer. I don't know if they can even reach it, or the waste. We don't know. We don't know.
Well, what's concerning is there's so many people in our community that are on a water well and they think they're safe. They're untouchable. We got a water well. We're good. Are you? Because we already know that these people are servicing out there outside of their service agreements. Do you want them to come and drill right next to your well? Do you really think that this could potentially not affect you down the road? Because it's already proven they're searching for more wells, okay? Searching for land to drill these wells. It could be you next. Just because you have a producing water well today doesn't mean that this couldn't potentially affect your water well at some point. This should be concerning to everyone in our community.
What I don't like about it, and I'll end it with this: we're letting people come from different countries and connect with other people that are not very good, honest businessmen, in my opinion, and they're out here screwing our people, making money, and then like they did in the other city, they ran off with the money, and then now they come to Midland. This actually happened already, ladies and gentlemen, to another city, right? Do you remember the name of it?
Copper's Cove.
Real quick, what happened there? If you can just give a quick explanation, because history is due to repeat itself.
It's my understanding these people were owners and involved in a company called Fathom. Anyone can look it up, Fathom Corpus Cove. They were providing billing and meter services, if I'm correct, on behalf of the city. People were complaining about receiving $900 a month water bills. Once it started getting put out there, all of a sudden, without notice, they walked out. They left those people behind. Go through the comments on our social media. I'm not aware of it because I don't live in this particular area of Greenwood. But apparently there's several people that have claimed they came in and did a meter change, and all of a sudden their water bill went up. Doesn't that sound familiar? Just saying.
All right. And with that, y'all, we're going to go ahead and end the live caller. Thank you, Christy. Give a quick final words. Christy, go ahead.
I am so saddened by all of the stories that I've heard. The back end of this, I haven't been part of the physical getting to go to and look at the things, but people reaching out to me with the stories with these kids that have passed away from leukemia that have lived there. We have these pictures of dead cats and snakes and birds and turtles and all these things, and it reminds you of a third world country, and it saddens me so much. And all I can keep replaying in my head is I have watched the Erin Brockovich movie so many times, is when she's talking to, I think her name was Sally Jensen, and Erin says to her, but PG&E was paying for your doctor's visits. And Sally Jensen's mind goes, oh my gosh, they were. And she sees her two kids out playing in a pool and hurries up and gets them out of the pool, realizing that they're being poisoned at that point. And it just bothers me so bad. The moral part of it is so hard to deal with, but then the personal trauma side of it, of what it's doing to people physically, what it's doing to people financially, what it's doing to people mentally, this is just so multi-tiered. And all I can do is pray that somebody listens, somebody hears, somebody is like, yes, we're going to put a stop to this and we're going to take care of you, because that's what we should do as a community, right?
I totally agree. All right, caller, I'm gonna give you final words. Go ahead.
Again, I just want to thank you guys, and I hope that the community will band together and support each other to hopefully get some answers and get this rectified and corrected. And just to be diligent with your surroundings and keep your eyes open and be safe and realize that this is real, and it's here, and it's our job to protect. It's our job to protect our homes, our families, our community, and this needs to stop.
Yep.
This needs to stop. It's not getting better. It's getting worse day by day. It needs to stop.
It's just like
And I look forward, Nino and Christy, for y'all to peel back the layers of the onion in hopes that our community will realize that, like all these callers have said, it's not just a water issue. We got big issues going on here. Big, big, big. And so I look forward to y'all peeling that onion back, exposing it for what it is, and coming out here and getting us some help.
And today's the first day, y'all. And our first video, the live we did, recap, did 38,000 views, less than 4 to 5 hours. And all I got to say, y'all, is our eyes are on this now. Many eyes are going to see this. And the Bible says what happens in the dark will come to light. We are going to expose what we can. We're not pros. We're not professional, journalists or whatever. We're just hardworking citizens that stand up for fellow hardworking citizens in West Texas. Salute all my oil field workers, all the women that are at the home, the homemakers, the wives, the husbands, the kids, the animals, the dogs. Our community of West Texas, we care about each other, and we just want to get this message out there that something is not right in Vander Ranch and in Greenwood, and we want answers, and we want to put a stop to this crap ASAP. And with that, I appreciate y'all. In the name of Christ, God bless, and we're out of here, y'all. Good night.
Good night.